In The Mandalorian, especially in Season 1, they make it a huge point to tell us that Din's creed forbids him from removing his helmet. We often hear Din say some things like, if I take it off, I can never put it back on. But if you are a fan of the Clone Wars and or Rebels, you know that this is not how most Mandalorians operate. Most Mandalorians can remove their helmets as they please and put them on just the same. So why does Din's creed not allow him to remove his? We never actually get to figure that out in detail in Season 1, but in Season 2 we get some more insight when bo-katan comes into the picture. She tells us that Din is part of the Children of the Watch, which she calls a group of religious zealots that are trying to restore the ancient ways of Mandalore. Let's dive a little deeper into this. To fully understand the Children of the Watch, we have to understand the original Death Watch first. Death Watch was formed after a Mandalorian civil war was lost. The war was between the pacifist New Mandalorians and the group later known as Death Watch. Death Watch wanted to restore the old ways of Mandalore while the New Mandalorians wanted some change. After the New Mandalorians won, the Old Guard were forced into exile on the moon of Concordia. There, they were believed to have died out. Death Watch then began devising plans and executing attacks on Mandalore. Eventually, they ran into Maul and joined forces with him. Together, they retook Mandalore, but the leader of Death Watch, Pre Vizsla, betrayed Maul and imprisoned him. Maul later escaped and challenged Vizsla to a duel for the Darksaber and for the throne of Mandalore. Maul won this battle and took his place on the throne. Word of Maul's rule spread to Darth Sidious, who met with Maul personally on Mandalore. He defeated Maul and captured him while also killing Maul's apprentice. Eventually, after killing most of Maul's allies, he released Maul thinking that he was no longer a threat. Maul returned to Mandalore and assumed control once again. At some point around this time, the settlement of Akvatina was invaded by separatist forces. They slaughtered the village residents until Death Watch arrived on the scene. As a B-2 battle droid prepared to kill a young child, later to be known as djarin, a member of Death Watch saved him. Din was raised as a foundling in the fighting corps and swore to the Mandalorian creed. He then became a member of the Children of the Watch and later joined the tribe. The siege is somewhat the last known story of the original Death Watch. Ahsoka and bo-katan laid siege to Mandalore to once and for all seize it as their own. Ahsoka obviously had the help of the Republic and the clone troopers. They defeated Maul's forces and Ahsoka defeated Maul. Mandalore was theirs, but then Order 66 happened. Ahsoka left Mandalore with Rex and some other clones, but a lot of the Republic forces stayed behind to keep Mandalore under the control of the Republic. Once the Republic turned into the Empire, the Mandalorians fled across the galaxy and Mandalore stayed under the Empire's control. For some groups of Mandalorians, new rules were formed. Some members of the Children of the Watch formed a group called the Tribe. This is the group that Din Djarin was a part of. This group, just like a lot of the other Mandalorians, was traumatized by the events of the Purge. They created new rules to protect the Mandalorian culture from extinction. They were no longer allowed to show their face, and more than one of them were not allowed to leave the covert at a time. This group was not aware that they were not adhering to normal Mandalorian rules. At least, most of them weren't, including Din. Most members of the tribe thought that they were the only Mandalorians left, and that their way of living was the only way. They had a very cult-like structure for their group, especially the repeated phrase of "this is the way." This phrase was repeated over and over and implied that the only way to survive and the only way for the entire Mandalorian race to survive was to never remove their helmets, and also to abide by all the other rules the tribe has taught them. The Children of the Watch somewhere along the line broke off from typical Mandalorian culture, and they formed their own rules, as is typical when one race of people break off across a large area. Think about the world that we live in today. At one point we were all in one place, all believing the same thing about the world. Now each country has a different dominant religion and rules that they all abide by. The same thing happened to the Mandalorians. The Children of the Watch think that they are protecting the only remaining Mandalorians in existence, and they take that very seriously. But once Din realizes that he isn't one of the only remaining Mandalorians and that his rules are not the only way to be Mandalorian, he starts to break away from the Watch's creed. Ever since bo-katan told him what his group of Mandalorians really was, he started to take it less and less serious, until he finally removes his helmet in front of everyone. So the Children of the Watch are descendants from the original Death Watch, but their rules are much different. The tribe took these rules to an extreme by not letting more than one Mandalorian leave the covert at a time, and by forcing them all to wear their helmets at all times. Once Din realizes this is not the only way of Mandalore, he breaks away from the creed slowly but surely, and hopefully he runs into one of his old tribe members. Maybe we will even see him fight the Armorer Mandalorian. I hope he can convince all of them to leave the creed as well, after he tells them the truth of their origins. What do you think about the formation of the Children of the Watch, and what do you think about Din leaving the creed? Let me know in the comments. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like on the video, and if you want to see more videos just like this one, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you want to be a part of the community and participate in viewer call-ins, make sure you join the Discord. The link will be in the description. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope to see you on the next one.